Wow, haven't made one of these in a while. Back to October 7th, though. All the stuff, a lot of stuff in my Misc playlist here that talks about it, all the events that are leading up to that. That goes back to, like I said, when Valerie and my godfather were denying that Saddam Hussein, was part of the axis of evil. That, I don't know what motivated them in that. Because, like I said, with terrorist funding scams, that goes back to, probably all the way back to the 70s and maybe the 60s with, food stamp trafficking and stuff like that. With the buyback thing, 50 cents on a dollar. And ideally, that was so that they could buy dope, because, besides the food stamp trafficking, they were also funding by, selling heroin and stuff like that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That was stuff where Saddam Hussein fit in with that was basically a bait and switch deal, where he would assume the liability for it, and then any money that they made ended up papering the walls at the palace there in Baghdad, which the U.S. Army found. I don't know how much was done with that, but, part of the problem with that is with military veterans, who were selling their food stamps too. And like I said, that goes back to a bunch of the stuff that we were working on up in Ohio with, people using gambling rackets and other stuff that was backed by unfriendly intel to create an unfriendly intelligence, human intelligence grapevine. So everybody ends up going bad. Blame it on the mafia and stuff like that. Although lots of times there was mafia involvement, but when it comes to leverage to support these illegal rackets, generally that comes from unfriendly intel, because most of your Cosa Nostra families don't have access to a nuclear arsenal, and generally that's what people are cramming up your rear. It's like a scare tactic. So you got all that going on, and so like I said, trying to hide all the food stamp trafficking, which was ongoing. I mean, the means has changed from actual tangible food stamps to cyber technology with debit cards and EBT cards and stuff like that. But you got all that going on too. And if you can follow the trend from there, you can see where it's been picking up with a lot of the other scams that they've been using. And these a lot of these are cyber scams, based on people setting up fake profile pages on Facebook and other social media platforms, and then stealing other people's content, and then reporting the people who own the content so they get shut down, and then they start making money from scamming people, trying to get them to send them basically gift cards like Google Play and Apple cards, because apparently those are easily transactable. It's if you're not into other things too, like Cash App, and PayPal and stuff like that. Basically it's the underground economy, and it really, this is one of the things that went on during the COVID quarantine, which I still totally disagree with. Like I said, you don't want to emulate the Soviets on that, because that's what killed their economy and caused communism to collapse. But you got all that going on. Because generally that's what they'll ask you to do. They'll set up a fake profile. And generally it fits in with Iran's anti-decadent West agenda too, because what they're doing is they'll target people that don't fit in with the right-wing, narrow-minded worldview. Things like astrology and tarot card readers. Any of the girly pages too, like people who are either models or they'll sell video content and stuff like that, pornography. Pirating pornography has also been an old thing too. And where this leads up to is with, this goes back to the CIA safe house in Cleveland that got compromised. And what happened there is some of the assets in Iran, Iranian intelligence was running a sting where they would convey pirated cultural media, Western cultural media. It could be anything from music to pornography to movies that they don't want you to watch over there. So they set up a fake means of distribution over there, and that was how they nabbed Valerie's asset, and that was what compromised that whole safe house. And like I said, arguing with her, I don't even, like I said, I'm looking at like a cyber stalker on that end or some kind of troll. I mean, I've already been banned from all of her social media pages, and I don't even look anymore, because it's just not worth it. She got in with that whole, that radical left-wing mindset, and most of those people, they're just as bad as the right-wing extremists, because the purpose there is to, play both sides against the middle and destabilize, and, well, like I said, her new husband works for the state over there, so, I mean, I don't need them breathing down my neck either. But basically, too, what you got going on there is, unfriendly incels' base of power being in property owned and taxes paid in the state and local paradigms. So they're playing the state and local governments against the federal government, and that's where all the roots of sedition come from. But it's not just the right-wing seditionists that tried to overthrow the government on January 6th of 2021. Because, all those far-left extremists, too, I mean, they were doing sedition as well. They just generally did not target federal government offices. So that's playing both sides against the middle there. But like I said, with with some of the new developments with the terrorism that brewed up in Iran following October 7th, they're using the same means to fund. So you've got kind of a schism there. You know what I'm saying? And Iran has been locked in the iconoclasm aspect of Marxist insurgency since the 70s. And that's basically you hate everybody because the purpose is to get rid of religion. And they're just not smart or wise enough to get out of that. And like I said, everything going on over there, most of the GRU coordination for what's going on over there, which makes them, puppets and pawns, they're useful idiots, but most of that's coordinated through, defense contracts. It's coordinated in escrow through defense contracts that those countries have with, the former Soviet Union and modern Russia. So, that's Putin still pulling all the strings there, and like good little lapdogs of a non-Yankee of nature, they're over there serving, being useful idiots, basically. I'll use that term because it's a good one. But, like I said, though, with the scamming and all that, now what they'll do, too, is, like, I've got one friend on Facebook who, she does, girly videos and stuff like that. But basically, somebody's actually stolen her videos, and she's got, whoever stole them on the fake page with the fake name has got 500,000 views on Facebook. And, with the Facebook's monetization program, that means that those people are drawing money from those views and probably getting advertisements. And where's that money going? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not going to say it's not being run as a personal scam, but, a lot of these pages are, terrorist funding pages. And like I said, they're likely targets because they don't fit in with the extreme right worldview. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with the astrology pages, because you'll get one of those fake pages, and they'll actively solicit you and do tarot readings. Which, they're probably legitimate tarot readings because anybody can buy a book on tarot cards and do an astrology chart. But they're doing it to scam people. You know what I'm saying? So, and then, they're using, well, like I said, fake profiles and stuff like that. But, like I said, there was another couple of the girly pages over there in England, like BDSM pages. The one girl was saying she's got over 100 fake accounts that are trying to be her. So we're talking a lot of money over there. And if you've been following anything with like some of the agents that MI6 has lost, you can see where the connection is, especially in regards to the fake pages. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So heads up on that. You don't want to, make sure the pages you follow are legitimate. But, and then there was another one I was talking to too. Now she found out she got placed on she was redirected to a Facebook page or a website that told people how to set up these scamming pages. So, there you got the shield thing, where you've got the actual terrorist funding pages that are creating a smokescreen by getting all sorts of other people who aren't necessarily funding terrorism, but who are going to support the scam. And that's where the leverage comes from. And like I said, most of this stuff is, it's stuff that most people aren't even going to look at because they're too hoity-toity and uptighty right. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But it's still exploiting, it's playing on the old, the anti-decadent West agenda that Iran's been supporting for years and years. But, like I said, heads up on that. But when it comes to between that and pirated media and stolen content, that people are using to monetize, it's like I said, that's where I'm at with that, But, arguing with people because, most of your, I'll leave it at that. But, like I said, it'll probably be a while before this video gets posted. I've got a backlog of videos going back to October 7th that I need to put up there. But hope everybody's having a good day, and thanks for listening. I have to watch out too because the whole 420 agenda. You get people like Lindsey Moran or Valerie Plame or some of the other ex-agents, and they're more than willing to carry out their agendas too. And, when you look at it, that's still illegal under United States federal law. So, if you work for the federal government, you don't want to get into that. Now, CBD is legal, you know what I'm saying? But, still, you got to watch out for it, with all the edibles and shit like that. Because while you're stoned and saying stupid shit, you could be starting World War III there. And like I said, with Valerie, and I don't know if it was Photoshop, but you got her on a video on a Turkish news media outlet calling us out for war crimes that were, of course, they're war crimes that Monica Elfried Witt helped to facilitate when she worked for Intel. And everybody knows where she is. I mean, she defected to Iran back in 2012. But I better stop here, though, because this video is getting long. But I hope everybody has a good day. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? This hurts me. I've known her for 50 years. Not a fan of President Trump because his shit shows a big smoke screen too. Because while he's got everybody arguing like the McCarthy era, nobody's seeing what the bad guys are doing. And it's by design. So, like I said, still like the Biden cabinet. They've been pretty, effective. I'll leave it at that. Have a good day.